A big weekend of soccer in the tri-state area coming up, and New York Red Bulls 2, ATL UTD 2 will get it kicked off in just a moment from MSU Soccer Park. Welcome everybody to USL Soccer on ESPN+. I'm David Gosh, joined by Hunter Freeman as New York Red Bulls 2 welcome in for the first time ever Atlanta United 2 here in Eastern Conference action. A big one here, Hunter, for these two teams as they both are struggling and looking for a win.
Yeah, both of these teams are going to be looking to get back on the winning side of things, and it's a great opportunity here tonight for Red Bull 2 to return home and hopefully get that victory that's much needed.
For ATL UTD 2, it'll be John Gallagher. 5 goals so far this season to lead the way for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's their leading goal scorer, and the last time these two teams played, which was early in the season in Atlanta, he had 2 goals against Red Bull New York 2, so look for them to definitely have their eyes on him as being a key player in this match tonight.
First round draft pick out of Notre Dame, making his name so far for Atlanta United 2. And on the flip side, Christian Casares for this New York Red Bull 2 team is someone you're focused on.
Yeah, I really love what he brings to the team. He's kind of the heartbeat as he goes, so does this Red Bull 2 team. He's disruptive in the midfield. He wins the ball back, and he's the first one to start the attack. Also has 2 goals on the season. So look for him to be very influential tonight.
Young Venezuela player who has fit in very well in the New York Red Bull 2 midfield, and we will look at his partners coming up in just a moment. We'll look at the starting lineups for this one as New York Red Bulls 2 look to get back to winning ways. We mentioned they led 3-2 late on against Louisville just a week ago and weren't able to close it out to finally get 3 points. They have not won in 6, but the last game they won was here at MSU Soccer Park. And Atlanta United 2 looking to get off the bottom of the standings in the Eastern Conference. We'll be back in just a moment with all your first half action here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health, life years ahead.
Friday night USL action at MSU Soccer Park, and that means Dollar Hot Dog Night. The fans are out and ready to go. Let's take a look at these two starting lineups for Atlanta United, a good young, talented team. Paul Christensen, the new draft pick, in goal. The key here, Oliver Shannon, Jack Metcalf in those holding midfield roles. Metcalf wearing that armband, and Laurent Kissadou and Joseph Samuel, the two young, creative, attacking players finishing out that attack alongside our star player, John Gallagher, up front.
Yeah, the hometown team here, you have Brian White up top. You got to look for him to get back on the scoring sheet. Tanari in the middle, as well as, you know, Scarlett and Adam will have their hands full with Gallagher, who's the leading goal scorer for Atlanta too.
And excited for a lot of fans, Armando Moreno on one wing, and Ben Mines getting the start on the other wing, the young 17-year-old Ibrahim Sakaya with the reins today as John Wolyniec was ejected against Louisville a week ago, so he will serve a one-game suspension here today. And then on the flip side, bringing his team in for the first time, Scott Donnelly, the new coach this year for the brand new team in ATL UTD2, playing down in Gwinnett County as we are ready to face off here for the second time ever. New York Red Bull Sioux versus Atlanta United 2. Our head officials for this one, Thomas Snyder, his assistants Tom Feliz and Tyler Rostek, and Andrew Eitel, our fourth official, as we get kicked off here on ESPN Plus for a good Friday night soccer game. The sun setting as the rain has finally ceased here in the New York, New Jersey area. Still plenty of heat though, Hunter, still plenty of heat.
Yeah, we're feeling it up here in the booth. Thankfully, the clouds protecting us a little bit right now.
Mines running away here early on, gets into the box, looking for the cross, a long touch by Moreno. And it's into the safe hands there of Christensen.
That was a good run from Mines. I would have liked for him to be a little bit more selfish. The defender was expecting him to cut it inside. Take a shot there with your right foot. I think you would have had a good chance to get a shot on goal.
Long ball over the top here for Scarlett to try and guide out. Doesn't get into the box. Lauro finally forced to kick it. This New York Red Bull Sioux team, as we mentioned, struggling in their form right now. They lost their last home game here at MSU Soccer Park 3-0 to Ottawa. They have not won in 5 straight games. And on the flip side for Atlanta United 2, just 2 wins on the season. Tanari breaking through the back line here. And on the right side, looking for the cross once again. And the slide tackle made the exact perfect moment here, out for a corner.
Yeah, once again, Tanari gets slipped in, similar to the chance Mines just had. You see here, he gets put in behind the Atlanta 2 defense. He's looking to his left to see if he has a runner. Again, I think he's got to be more selfish there and have a shot on goal.
Kendall Moulin there with the slide tackle starting at center back alongside A.J. Cochran, the experienced man from St. Louis. The cross comes in, easily taken by Christensen. And in just 2 minutes here, Hunter, 2 clean breaks for New York Red Bulls 2. And as we've seen over this stretch, struggling to take advantage of their chances.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to start a game. Is you can't really ask for 2 better looks than that in the first 2 minutes. But like you just said, you'd like to do more with those chances, especially those high quality that they just had. Again, I think they're being a bit too unselfish. Have a shot and live to talk about it afterwards.
Andrew Tanari, one of the leading attacking players on this team for New York Red Bulls 2, taking over much of the reins from Vincent Bezecourt. Florian Vallot, who carried the attack the last few years, 4 goals already this season after there's 2 goals in all of 2017. Hunter, if you're these 2 coaching staffs, because they're both in a similar position, you've got very young teams, you're in a bad set of form. What's the conversation like coming into this game?
Oh, I mean, this is part of growing up as a professional soccer player, right? You're going to have good stretches and bad stretches. And, I mean, you look at Red Bull 2, they started off the season really well, especially at Red Bull Arena. Now they're in the dog days of summer, and you know, a lot of these kids aren't used to playing this many matches week in, week out. So this is all a learning process, and it's the same thing for Atlanta too. Obviously, this is their first year of existence, so their learning curve is more steeper than Red Bull 2.
Matt Klaff wearing that captain's armband in central midfield turns it over. Tanari works it out, his own half. Now Moreno charging forward. He's got Mines to his right, White to his left, finds Tanari. Tanari now a few options in the box, tries to cut it back. Shot there by Mines and easily taken in the end by Christensen.
Yeah, that was the right choice there to cut that one back to Mines. You saw they had 3 guys in the box here. You're gonna have Mines, White, and Moreno. Mines just kind of pulls off. finds himself wide open there at the top of the box. Unfortunately, just couldn't get any power on that shot as the ball was just slightly behind him.
Jose Hernandez, the starting left back for this Atlanta United 2 team with the ball down the line. Looking for the path of Kisadu, who gets there, but he's called offside. But clearly, New York Red Bull Sioux targeting that left side of the defense. Ben Mines and Tanari already 2 or 3 good looks down this wing in these early minutes.
Yeah, it's the third time they've come down this left side of Atlanta's defense, and it's all started with their quick little combinations in the midfield. They surpass that midfield line, and then they're running at the back 4, back 3. So something for Atlanta to definitely be aware of is those quick little combinations in the midfield where Red Bull does a really good job of overcommitting numbers in the midfield, and then that's allowed them to get in behind.
We mentioned Atlanta United 2, only 2 wins on the season, but the first one came in their opening game, and that was hosting New York Red Bulls to a 3-1 victory. Josef Samuel with the first ever goal in this team's history. And John Gallagher, as you mentioned in the open, followed it up with 2 of his own. Brian White with the goal on the flip side for New York Red Bulls 2. So for Atlanta United 2, a tough season, but some good memories here in this matchup. We'll try and bring that back out here today. Down the line, Mines and Moreno collide with each other. An offside flag goes up against at least one of them.
Yeah, I think it was Moreno that was offsides, and it looked like Mines was trying to communicate to him to leave it. Eventually he does, but at that point in time, the linesman has judged that, you know, he was too involved in the play, and they get called offsides.
Ben Mines here, his 9th start of the year, 10th appearance, just 17 years old. Hunter, what have you seen from this young player? What are the keys for him and his progression and what he needs to do here today?
Well, I mean, again, it's all about that mentality, which is the hardest thing when you're coming back and forth between the first team and the second team. And the times that I've seen him play with this Red Bull 2 team, I think he approaches the game correctly. He may not always have his best game, but he's always given a 100% effort. And I think that's what the coaching staff's looking for. And as well, it's just a different game here with Red Bull 2 as compared to, you know, the first team. When he's on this field, everyone knows who he is. You know, when he goes in the first team, he's just one of 11 guys.
That ball gets knocked out along the end line, so it'll be a corner kick coming here. Atlanta United 2 with that quick throw in, pushed out by Jordan Scarlett. It'll be Gallagher to take this corner kick. He's got Laurent Kisadu out there alongside him. Gallagher floats it in, headed away by Scarlett. Chance here with the long strike, and it'll go just over the top off the foot of Sean Nicklaw, the Guam international. Part of an experienced core for this team, Hunter. You look at New York and no player over the age of 23, and then you look over at Atlanta United 2, and you've got AJ Cochran, an experienced player, Devin Sandoval up top, who was drafted by RSL, won an NASL championship, and Nicklaw, who's played in a number of World Cup qualifiers, 29 years old. So a little bit of a different roster creation by this ATL UTD 2 team.
Yeah, they definitely shaped their roster slightly different than Red Bull 2. They have that experience, these guys, you know, these veterans, especially 2 of them in your back line and 1 up top. So you kind of have bookends, right? And in between, you have your young guys that you're trying to get experience, teaching them on how to be a pro. So I like that. I think it's important to have those guys on your team, especially in these second team setups where you have a bunch of young guys. You need 1 or 2 that have been through it, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sandoval there with that chest over, but Gallagher can't control, and now into the feet of Cochran. AJ Cochran, a first-round draft pick out of the University of Wisconsin to the Houston Dynamos. Christensen puts on the moves. Pressure coming there on the goalkeeper, and now New York looking to break once again. Mines was in behind, but Hernandez covers, and he pushes it out for the corner kick. Once again, Ben Mines finding a little bit of space down this right wing.
I always say if something's working, especially
Right.
early on in the game, keep going for it. So good on Red Bull 2 to keep after it. Ben Mines every time he gets that ball, he needs to go 1v1 with Hernandez until he's stopped.
It'll be Lemma to take this one. Left-footed in-swinger. Floated to the far post. Scarlett goes down, and the ball's finally cleared. New York Red Bulls 2 in their home white tops with red shorts. UTD 2 with the red tops, black stripes, and black shorts. Of course, Atlanta United coming into Major League Soccer last season with a bang, bringing in some great young talent from overseas, having some great domestic talent as well. And this team was supposed to come online next year, but they felt like they already had so many good young players, a number of players playing with the USU 17s as well as foreign national teams, that they pushed it up a year to try and get some of these guys more experience early on. Ben Mines, the long touch that he tries to chase down, but Hunter, there's no question that right now for what Atlanta United is trying to build is very similar to what New York Red Bulls have already built, as you see Cutler pushing forward and his shot's blocked out for a corner.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want a blueprint on how to run your second team, look no further than Red Bull 2 here. You see this last play, Moreno dribbling across the middle, he lays it off. Cutler does well to join the attack and earns a corner. So another great chance here for Red Bull 2.
It'll be Tenari with the outswinger this time. Lands in the box, still alive. Mines gets there and hits the crossbar. Ben Mines with the left-footed strike on that far side. He's not able to find the target.
Yeah, here you see, I think it was Moreno that knocks that down. And Mines does extremely well to get to that ball as quickly as he can there on the far post. But obviously he's under a challenge of the Atlanta 2 player and just can't quite wait for the ball to drop down that slight bit more that it needed to, and he hits off the crossbar.
And if you're building a plan, Hunter, back to what we were talking about before, of here's a brand new club, and this is how I want to build a second team in an academy structure. What is it from New York with guys like Aaron Long and Bezecourt and Velo that's worked well that you would take?
Well, I think, as you said, right, their plan originally was maybe not to start this team till next year. They decided, let's go ahead, get these guys experience. And that's, for me, the most important thing. Get these guys experience. Get them playing games throughout the entire year, not just 3-4 months or, you know, even academy season where they take breaks in the winter and then the summer sometimes. So these are games and travel, and get them used to that, everything that goes into being a professional.
Tenari with the layoff. It's stolen away. Handled easily there by Oliver Shannon, the Englishman out of Clemson. Another one of the draft picks this season for Atlanta United. Getting an opportunity to get some minutes here. ATL UTD 2. Kasidu lays it off for Samuel. Atlanta looks to get comfortable in possession. That one jumped by Cutler. White now, trying to find Tenari quickly. Read very simply there by Kendall Moulin. Now Atlanta back the other way. Ball down the line for Sandoval. And Endom's able to close down and make the tackle.
Fantastic tackle there from Endom. He was one-on-one with Sandoval, and he beats him to it. Well done from your center back.
And now Gallagher cutting in on his favored right foot. And he's not able to get all of that one.
One thing I'm noticing early on is Atlanta, they almost have 4 defenders. They have their 2 center mids, and then there's a big gap between those 2 center mids, and then they almost have a line of 4 up top. And that's why Red Bull 2's had so much success in the midfield. Is as soon as they beat that initial 4 forwards that they have a ton of space. But they also need to be aware on the turnover, because there you saw when Sandoval got played in, Endom's one-on-one. They leave those 4 guys quite high.
Scarlett pushing that one out to De Vera now. Hunter said New York's pushing the attack. Cutler coming forward. Hernandez wins the first tackle. He's able to win the second as well. Gallagher lets it roll out. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportsamerica.com or receive free shipping on orders over $50. Scarlett goes all the way back to the feet of Loro. For this New York team, conceding 6 goals in the last 2 games. Defensively, do you start to lose confidence as a defender? What is the training sessions like after games like that?
I mean, usually it's a point of emphasis for sure. 6 goals in 2 games is not a recipe for success. That's, I mean, I don't know what team does, but I mean, one thing I've talked to Wally about is the fact that this team, they realized that with the attacking style that they play, they're going to be vulnerable.
Tinari now coming forward. He strikes it and it goes over the top.
But they're going to be vulnerable, especially on the counterattack. They like to have that possession. They like to commit numbers forward. And when you do that, you're going to have yourself one-on-one in the back, and sometimes that's going to lead to goals. You see there, Tinari, just with the long-range shot, didn't hit it the way he wanted to, but still another good look and another good pick off there in the middle.
Cutler wins that header. Casares plenty of space here to turn. Looking for Moreno over the top. Once again handled by Kendall Moulin. He's done a lot of work covering over from that right center back spot.
And when you're a center back playing against Red Bull 2, that's the one thing you have to be aware of is the left and right wingers coming inside, making that run in between the outside back and you, the center back. They look to do that a lot, and Moreno especially, he loves that run from that left-hand side because when he runs in between, now the ball's on his right foot.
Mano Moreno, 6 goals so far this season, his first year back with his original club. He left New York as a teenager, went down to Mexico. As we've got Christian Caceres back behind the ball. He went down behind the play holding his face. It's our head official Thomas Snyder over to check it out, but Moreno went down to Mexico, just didn't get the minutes that he was looking for at Tijuana. Went on loan a little bit with Dorados, got some minutes in Copa MX, really never appeared in Liga MX, and now he's back here with New York. Took a little while for him to get into the starting lineup, but now 11 starts in 6 goals, as you mentioned, for a dangerous player coming off those wings, which is so key to the New York Red Bulls system in general.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a guy who knows this system. He's been in it. I think, his trials and tribulations down in Mexico have only helped him grow as a player and a person.
Tinari now trying to get by Cochran. He does. Clips that ball across the middle, and it hits off the post. Following up now is Lima, and he buries it. Chris Lema follows up the rebound and scores it to give New York the lead.
And again, it's coming down that left-hand side of that Atlanta defense, one of those delayed runs from one of the midfielders. This time it was Tinari. And originally, Nick Law gets his foot on it, and thankfully he did because I think it was Mines there on the back post, wide open. He hits it off the post, and credit to Lima. He follows it up and puts it away. Wasn't the prettiest of finishes with his right foot, but you know what? They all count the same. Here you see Tinari played in behind, gets his body in front of Cochran. Nick Law knocks it off the post. And there's Lima. Happy as can be to find that one at the top of the box and puts it just inside the right post.
His first career professional soccer goal for Chris Lema, a former Red Bull Academy player, Red Bull U23 player coming out of Georgetown this year, his first year in the pro game, and he gets his first goal to open it up for New York.
No better feeling than finally getting that first goal, getting that one off your chest, and now he'll be full of confidence for the rest of this match. But again, it was similar build-up. We've seen it, 3-4 times so far in this first half from Red Bull, getting down that left-hand side of in behind Hernandez. And they've looked to cross it a couple times, and I thought they should have shot it, but that was the right choice there from Tinari. And eventually, the rebound off the post, and it comes right to Lima, and he puts it away.
And we've seen so far in this game New York commit numbers into the attack as Tinari now pushes forward once again down that right wing, vacated space, cuts it back this time from Moreno. Mines now clipping it to the far side for Lemma. And Lemma's cross is blocked. How does Atlanta United adjust now to try and close this space down?
Well, it's one of two things. If you're Hernandez, you don't want to get caught forward because they keep getting in behind you. And as well, they got to track those runners out of the midfield with Tinari. That's 2 times in a row right there within, a couple minutes of each other that he's getting in behind them.
Corner kick taken here by Lemma. Flicked on by White to the far post, and it goes across the face and out.
But going back to that, the thing is, as a left back gets pulled out, now Tinari starts to make that run right into the space that Hernandez has left, which now the left center back Cochran has to get dragged out, and everyone has a shift. And if they don't do that quick enough, Red Bull finds themselves, one-on-one or even 2v1 at that far post.
We've seen Kendall Moulin at right center back have to cover a couple times already as Sandoval gets called for the foul here. But right now, Atlanta United, too, struggling a little bit defensively as the sun sets here at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls, too, will be here for the remainder of the season. So make sure to go to NewYorkRedBulls.com to look for tickets. They'll be home again next Friday, 7 p.m. against the Richmond Kickers. It will, of course, be Dollar Hot Dog Night, which means everyone has to be here. It's always a celebration. The Rampage will be here back behind the goal as well for another big Eastern Conference matchup. New York Red Bulls, too, have fallen out of the playoff spots right now, but sitting just a point behind in the Eastern Conference. And looking to start this weekend with a win. Make sure.
It's kind of a silly foul there from Ndam. Laurent, he's dribbling towards the corner flag, away from the goal. And I know Ndam probably feels like he didn't really foul him, but he puts his hands on his back, and that's immediately as the ref saw that, he calls a foul. And here's a great chance off a set piece for Atlanta United 2 to get back into this game when they really haven't had much of anything.
Atlanta has everyone pushed up. New York Red Bulls, too, defending with 11. Floated towards the far post. Headed down onto the top of the box. Moreno trying to take it with him. Pushes it wide for De Vera. De Vera now defended by Samuel. Samuel's able to block it out. Stifle that counterattack. Chance wasted there a little bit, though, Hunter, for this ATL UTD 2 team.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you're a team that's under pressure and you're on the road, set pieces are a great opportunity to score a goal. And even if, it's not your day, you can always find a way to score a goal on a set piece. And right there, the delivery just kind of was hit over everyone. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow them to even have a chance. I mean, look at the World Cup, how many goals have been scored, on set pieces. And, there's teams that have been maybe not dominating possession, but have found that opportunity off a set piece. And next thing you know, they've won the game and they've upset, one of the favorites. So
sometimes you don't even have to touch it. You could be like Belgium and get an own goal.
Exactly. That's why I said earlier, the Red Bull 2, they should have shot a couple, because even a shot, a deflection, a rebound, you never know. But if you don't shoot or you don't take that opportunity or the service isn't there, then you eliminate that chance right away.
Saw Antoine Griezmann get a little bit of a favor from Muslera earlier today. French-Uruguay match, as you hear the drums from the Rampage start up here. Ball blocked. Scarlett's able to keep it in. Pass on the ground dangerously up the middle of the field. It's turned over back. ATL UTD 2 starting to put some pressure on here. Gallagher charging in. He gets by 4 defenders. Keeps it from going out for a goal kick, but it'll be a throw in here for New York.
Like you said, definitely a better spell here from Atlanta United 2. They're able to sustain a little bit pressure on Red Bull 2. They haven't been able to get out. It was a good mazy run there from Gallagher. Unfortunately, his last touch was just a bit too long.
You see Ibrahim Sakaya there, the head coach for this one. Consistency's been the big comment around New York Red Bulls too over the last few weeks, both in their team and individual performances. They've started brightly here. You get the goal. What does his team have to do now to maintain a little bit of possession to continue to be dangerous here after scoring now for 5-10 minutes.
Well, look, I think it's one of those where it's not always about just keeping the ball and possessing it. What they've done extremely well is they've had a majority of the possession, but they've been dangerous. They've been attacking with that possession. It hasn't been side to side. It's been passes forwards, in behind the line, in behind the lines of the midfield right there. So I think they just got to keep, it sounds simple and easy, right? Just keep doing what you've been doing, but here we are 25 minutes in, and you've experienced a lot of success.
Gallagher here with a little bit of space down the left. He's got Kisadu alongside him. He cuts in on his right foot. He curls the shot, but he can't get it to dip, and it'll go out for the goal kick. Take a look at this replay here. Gallagher's a few times now cut in on his right foot.
Yeah, I mean, really, any of the chances that they've had have come off of his foot. I think he should have been a bit more patient there. He cut inside. Cutler kind of slipped, which bought him a little more time. He decided to shoot, but I think he could have even had another touch and still gotten a shot off, or gotten his head up and maybe looked to combine with Sandoval up top.
Want to get exclusive video content and photography from across the USL? Make sure to follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer. Hunter, what's your Instagram? Can people follow
Instagram, Hunt Free. It's a pretty easy one.
Is it a strong content?
Yeah, it's a lot of 3 little girls who
Yeah.
are my kids being crazy. That's pretty much what it is.
I thought you were going to say a dad answer, but I just maybe was going to give you a chance to be like, yeah, it's a lot of me doing really private jets and cool stuff like that.
Yeah, I wish that was my lifestyle, but
Brian White down behind the play here, holding his head.
I find them quite entertaining. Whether the audience does or not, that remains to be seen.
3 defenders?
No, definitely not defenders. We're trying to teach attacking in our household. My wife played soccer as well. She played here locally at Rutgers, so she was a defender too. So we both know where the big bucks are made, and that's not at the back.
Well, it's funny because we talked to John Wolenek before this game, a center forward, and he said, yeah, I've had more success now, it looks like, coaching defenders. Aaron Long coming through, one of the big pieces, but other defenders as well. The opposite. So now you're trying to go in the other direction.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I think the easy transition is from forward back. That's what happened to me as a kid. I started off as a forward and then a midfielder and then eventually a defender. So I think you got to shoot for the stars. And also, my middle daughter, there's not much defense in her. She's very tenacious, but she definitely enjoys. She's already realized the glory you get from scoring
the goal
a goal.
celebration.
That's
like,
right.
If you were, though, when you talk to young players and look at young players, because a lot of guys out here, they play number 10, they're number 9s, they're out on the wing, and you look at players like Samuel and Kisadu and Tenari and White, there might come that time, though, where you have to make that decision. Was the conversation like of, hey, we're going to shift you back a little bit, or we think maybe you fit here at a different position?
To be honest, it's usually not a very fun one for the player, because if you're an attacker, that's what you think in your head. You want to attack all day, and when that initial conversation comes to you, whether it's the coach or director of the club, whatever it is, and they tell you they want you to move back, and of course they try to sell it to you.
White coming forward here off the turnover. It's knocked away by Cochran. The goal line clearance by A.J. Cochran keeps it at 1-0 New York.
Yeah, well done there from Cochran. Just comes off a bad turnover here, gets caught on the ball, dribbling out of the back. White finds himself 1v1, and thankfully Cochran was covering his keeper there and clears it out for a corner.
New York not able to direct that one on goal, and it'll go out for a throw-in.
But what I was saying is usually that initial conversation is not a fun one for the player. And of course you're going to get sold on, look, we think you can do all these things from this position that maybe you couldn't do here. But then it just becomes down to the player and your mentality, and how can you maybe reinvent yourself a little bit? How can you take those attacking qualities and add something, you know, maybe defensive? And for me, that's what it was as an outside back.
Lemma here with the shot. Feeling like confidence from the first goal.
I realized as an outside back that I was really the first line of attack for the team. And as soon as I kind of got that in my head, then I started to, you know, really develop my own craft and watch the players that I liked, wanted to emulate.
Shannon gets that one wide for Kendall Moulin. As New York Red Bulls 2 press high. What was the toughest transition? Was it attack to midfield or midfield to defense?
I would say probably attack to midfield, or I don't know. They're both hard. The thing I say about midfielders is you can be so aggressive as a midfielder when you're defending because you still have 4 guys or 3 guys behind you. As a defender, that's the thing, is you want to be aggressive, and you are in your nature typically as a defender, but you also have to have some cautiousness because if you get beat, oftentimes there's not someone behind you, and that'll lead to a goal, and then that'll lead to you not being on the field for much longer.
Do you wish that you'd played other spots growing up or coming through at a younger age?
Well, I mean, look, I started off as a forward. I played center mid for a while. Then I bounced around between center back. Eventually,
Mistake here, a deflection and a goal. Caceres with, it looked like a turnover of a ball there over the top. Sean Nicklaw looking the other way. Christensen out to take it. Bounce off the back of Nicklaw and was bundled over by Amando Moreno.
yeah, again, Atlanta United too, you know, their own worst enemy here. Just like that chance we saw White had where he was one-on-one. Here's a ball over the top from Caceres, and I think it's just a miscommunication. I'm not sure. It looks like Nicklaw was trying to let the ball go for his keeper, and it just hits his foot, and the keeper was already moving out of his area to collect the ball, and as soon as it hits Nicklaw's foot and changes direction, Christensen's, you know, he's left for dead. And Moreno, there he is, probably one of his easier 7 goals of the season.
Team leading 7th goal now for Moreno. Atlanta United 2 settled down after the first goal. They had 5 or 10 minutes of sustained possession and attack as Gallagher gets forward now. But New York Red Bulls 2, over the last 5 minutes, we've really seen that high press come into effect, force a few mistakes, and that one, Moreno just in the right place at the right time.
But you also have to give Moreno credit because a lot of times as soon as that ball goes over his head, you know, most guys will start jogging or maybe even, you know, turn the opposite direction and think that, you know, there's no chance in it. And he pays attention, he keeps running it down, and obviously the bounce goes right to him.
Gallagher clips this one into the far post. Headed over the top as Atlanta United 2 now trailing 2-0 here with about 15 minutes left in this first half as the sun sets on this beautiful summer evening at MSU Soccer Park. Atlanta United 2 will have to push the comeback a little bit here. And Hunter, I asked you about positioning and where to play because you look at a lot of these young players, and Tyler Adams, an example on the New York side, playing fullback as he came up just to get minutes, but maybe that's not his position in the end. Andrew Carlton on the Atlanta United side still looking to find his feet at the pro level, but dominating at the U17 level. And it's tough for young players to get playing time. A lot of times it feels like they come in and they're unprepared to play a different position than the one that they grew up starring in.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at if you're comparing Adams and Carlton, I think it's a perfect example of, I've only really seen Andrew Carlton play 2 positions. And I know his favorite position is out wide where he can get isolated one-on-one. And then you see him when he drops down with the academy teams or the national team, he plays inside as well sometimes. But if you look at Atlanta United's roster, those are 2 positions that are pretty firmly in place with who's going to be playing those. So you have to take your chances as they can. And I think for any young player, the first thing you got to be doing is asking the coach, what are our needs? Where do you see me getting the best opportunity to play with that first team? And on the opposite end, you look at Tyler Adams. He came in, he played as a right back, probably not his best position, but something he did very, very well. And it was a need at the time, right? So now he fills a void for Red Bull, gets his feet wet, playing a position that maybe isn't his strongest, but gains experience and confidence and all those things that you need. And then as time goes on and progresses, they say, you know what, now let's try you here in the middle. And they say, wow, I think we'd like him better there. So when you're young, you got to take any and every opportunity, whether it's playing a different position, an unfortunate injury to a teammate. All those things, you have to be ready when your number's called.
Kosteros floats this one to the far post again. This time Ken DeMullen deals with it out for a corner kick. New York Red Bulls too playing with a lot of confidence here in the first half. David Goss and Hunter Freeman joining you on ESPN Plus here from MSU Soccer Park. Red Bulls too trying to get back to winning ways. It'll be Tenari to take. A right-footed in-swinger. Floated to the top of the box. Cutler with the volley. Christensen pushes it wide. Atlanta United too then fouled in the box. But a beautiful play there. Tenari for Cutler, the former number 10 in college, as we've been talking about, now playing at right back, but showing that technical quality.
Yeah, that one was definitely drawn up on the training ground. And what you didn't see in that replay is Indom started his run from the far corner of the 18. And he starts his run, which drags the defender, and all the attention's on him, obviously, because he's such a big target. And there you see Cutler. He's left alone at the top of the box with no one. A great ball from Tenari, and Cutler did everything he had to do. He put it on target. A good save there from Christensen.
Paul Christensen's been asked to do a lot. The rookie out of Portland. It's a late draft pick by Atlanta United out of the Sounders Academy. And it has not been an easy game for him so far. As New York are back on the attack. Moreno's got a wide run from De Vera. He's looking to cut inside himself. Tenari now for Caceres. Caceres into the feet of Lemma. And finally Cochran steps up and clears his lines. And Endom with the slide tackle, and he keeps it in play for New York. Into the feet of Mines. Hernandez closes, makes the tackle, no call made. And Tenari's cross is knocked away. Lemma again following up. And this time that shot goes wide.
Once again, this is great pressure. That's 2-3 chances there in the span of 30 seconds that Red Bull have. Here you see Mines again. He's in between that outside back and the center back. Doesn't quite come off, but Tenari's there running off of him. And we've seen Tenari with that cutback ball 2-3 times, but unfortunately couldn't find Moreno in the box.
So final 10 minutes of the first half to play here. A little bit of stoppage time expected. What do you want to see, Hunter, from these two teams?
Well, again, I think if you're Red Bull, it's more the same. Red Bull 2, they've applied a lot of pressure. There was maybe only about 5 minutes there where they weren't dominating this first half. And if I'm Atlanta United 2, I got to solidify that midfield. I see a block of 4, 2, and then another block of 4. And unfortunately, those two in the midfield, there's way too much ground for them to cover and too many Red Bulls players, because Red Bull 2, they love to commit those midfielders in narrow.
White with the offside flag going up.
So I don't know if they need to drop Kisadu a bit deeper to be paired up with those two that are kind of side by side, or maybe even change the formation a little bit.
You look at the bench for ATL UTD2, Nico Karat, your backup goalkeeper. You've got Kevin Barajas and Alessandro Castro, Will Crane, an interesting one, Chris Goslin, who could come in and play as another defensive midfielder, Lagos Kunga, a forward on the bench, and then Blake White, the young Jamaican international out of the academy. As that cross is knocked away by Scarlett, follow-up shot from Metcalf is blocked, and it'll go out for a corner kick. An acrobatic clearance there from Scarlett to save the day.
Yeah, and it was much needed, because once again, it's Gallagher, the guy who's been the most dangerous player on the field for Atlanta United 2. And a fantastic ball. And credit to Scarlett for getting that one out.
Second chance here. Kisadu looking for an opening. His cross is blocked and then taken by Tenari. He pushes it up the line for Mines. Ben Mines, the young Red Bull homegrown, scored in his first career MLS game against the Portland Timbers earlier this season. And he's been stirring the pot here in this one for New York Red Bulls 2. Red Bulls 2 down the line here for the goal scorer, Lemma. His first cross is blocked. Nicola is able to head it out. And now De Vera coming forward, and his cross will be blocked out for another corner kick.
Talking about minds, though, I mean, that's what you expect from him, right? If you're looking for him to really contribute to the first team, as an attacking player playing at home, you need to be dominant. You need to be running at your guy. You need to be getting on the end of crosses, crossing the ball, and that's creating chances. And I think he's done an excellent job here in the first 40 minutes.
Corner kick played in. Headed down by Mines, cleared away by Kendall Moulin. Christensen was going down. He was behind the play. Cutler then, I believe that was a shot.
It definitely was, and I was sitting here saying in my head, because that's my spot right back. I was like, shoot that, because he took a touch expecting somebody to come put him under pressure. Here you see Mines with that header that's cleared out, but he took the touch down off his chest, and he thought somebody was going to put pressure. He took another touch. They still didn't step to him, and there you have to have a shot. But now that he's hit that one, maybe he won't shoot again.
Shannon there was able to get out of pressure. Now Samuel for ATL UTD 2. Samuel and Kisidou have not seen enough of the ball in this one. Kisidou now down the right wing for Nicola. Nicola is able to save it, but into the feet of Scarlett. And now New York trying to attack the space that Nicola vacated. White turns a little on Kendall Moulin, who wins it away and all the way back to Christensen.
Yeah, that was unfortunate there from Kisidou, because he's got the weight of the pass has to be better for Nicola, because Nicola was in. It was a great opportunity. They had numbers in the box, and unfortunately he just overhits it, and Nicola can't really catch up to it and put anything on it.
Cutler with a fine defensive play with that ball over his head. Ethan Cutler filling in at right back here as Moreno is in offside position. Cutler, another one of those guys we talked about, was a number 10 at Colgate. Jesse Marsh drafted him in the second round last year and has slowly worked to convert him to right back. And with the stoppage here, that gives us a chance to mention that Jesse Marsh no longer the coach of New York Red Bulls. He will be moving on, announced today. Chris Armas, his lead assistant, will take over. Hunter, it's big news for a club where the coaching, the style, the system, the philosophy is such a major part of their identity. How do you see a move like this playing out from the player's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Jesse Marsh has done a terrific job. And whatever he moves on to, whatever pasture that is, you got to wish him the best of luck, because he's done a phenomenal job here. When you look at Chris Armas, I think you look at someone who, as a player, was one of the best professionals, role models that you could ask for, and he's been extremely patient in his coaching career. And I know for a fact this is a job that he wants. He's a New York guy. He's been in this system with Jesse now. So I don't think there's going to be much change from the style of play. Now, of course, every coach, as a player, the biggest change when the coaches change is certain coaches just have their preference of certain players in certain positions. So it's not like Armas is going to come in and change 5-6 guys. You might see one or two differences that maybe you didn't see under Jesse, a guy who's, was more of a sub, now becomes a starter.
Moreno charging forward, has it knocked away.
But especially with the Red Bull organization as a whole, I don't think you're going to see a big difference between the two. And to be honest, as players, Marsh and Armas, who played together, they're kind of cut from the same cloth. Right. And that's why Armas was his
hard-nosed defensive midfielders.
Right. And that's why, I think Jesse brought him in as his right-hand man. So I think it's a perfect transition for Armas. I think it's a perfect transition for the club. And I think for the players, well, they know who their coach is now. They know what to expect from him.
Samuel with the header down, finds Sandoval's feet. The offside flag goes up on Devin Sandoval.
Yeah, fortunate there for Scarlett, because he needs to clear that with his left foot. He reaches it with his right foot, and the ball just sneaks under him. Thankfully, Sandoval was caught offside.
Atlanta United, too. A few dangerous chances here late in this first half. Just a couple more minutes before these two coaching staffs get a chance to talk things over. The sun is set, so temperature dropping here. Good news for these players. Samuel lays it back, and Nick Law flips it over the top for Kisadu. When a big change like this happens, it changes your schedule for a little while. You have big events. Everyone keeps asking you these questions. How much does that really matter to players?
The players, it doesn't matter as much as people probably think it does.
I think it matters a lot.
I don't, because as a player, they've known this change was coming probably 3-4 days ago. So for them, that transition's already happened. Now they're kind of getting into the groove of how Armas maybe runs his training session different from Jesse, maybe how the meetings are slightly different. But again, the system, the style of play, none of that's changing. So for the players, I think it's just now they're starting to get in the groove. Again, they've known this change happened probably 3 or 4 days ago, or knew that it was a strong possibility. The fact that we're just now finding out about it, they certainly are always the first to know.
So a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time here at MSU Soccer Park. Caceres finds Tenari's feet, plays it down the wing for Mines. Mines puts it in the middle for White. His sliding tackle. Ball still alive now, Tenari. And that shot put off the crossbar.
Christensen comes up big once again. Here you see White. He does very well to get onto that ball from Mines. Gets up quick, finds the ball at his feet, lays it off to Tenari, who does everything that he could to put that in the top corner. And unfortunately, Christensen makes a spectacular save. And he's really keeping them in this game. I mean, I know it's 2-0, but that's at least 2 saves that were for sure goals if he doesn't get his hands on them.
And you saw, similar to Moreno, Brian White not quit on that play after his initial attempt, finds Tenari's feet. And a golden opportunity. And as you said, Christensen keeping his team in it. New York Red Bulls, too, took the lead in the 17th minute, the first goal by Chris Lema. Armando Moreno with the second in the 30th. And now Metcalf goes wide for Gallagher. John Gallagher down the wing for Hernandez. And Caceres easily guides that one out.
But, you know, going back to your point, you say that you think it does make a big
No,
difference.
I was joking.
No? Because, I mean, here's the thing, right? For, what, the past month or two, this whole idea of is Jesse leaving or is he not, right? I think that cloud has a heavier weight than the actual move. Now it's done. It's dusted. They can move on to different questions.
Well, our whistle goes here for halftime from our head official, Thomas Snyder. Oh, excuse me. It's just a whistle for offside. I got a little overexcited there. Now Cutler charging forward. And there is our whistle for halftime. Hunter, for these coaches, what's your focus? If you're Atlanta United, we mentioned getting more numbers in midfield. For New York Red Bulls, too, Ibrahim Sakaya controlling this one. What's he saying to the players at halftime?
I mean, yeah, for Red Bull 2, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting them under pressure. Keep making those runs out of midfield. That seems to be causing the Atlanta 2 backline trouble. For Atlanta 2, they need to get more compact. They grew into the game a little bit. They finally got some chances, you know, the last 10, 15 minutes. But they need to get more compact. The space between the 2 center mids and the forwards and the 2 center mids and the back 4 is just too big. And that's where Red Bull's playing all those combinations and getting their opportunities.
Well, with Yusuf Samuel, Lauren Kisadu, Devin Sandoval, and John Gallagher, you know there's plenty of danger in the attack for Atlanta United, too. We'll see if they can get it going in the second half. We'll be back in just a moment with first half highlights here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
one of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Welcome back to MSU Soccer Park. Fans are up and getting their food, getting their drinks. Hunter, coming into this game, there was two players that we were focused on to see could they change the game for this team. Christian Caceres for New York Red Bulls 2. He's done it so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's had what I would say a quiet game, but he hasn't put a foot wrong, and a lot of that has been because Red Bull 2 have been attacking for much of this first half. But he's been there to win those second balls that pop out and keep that pressure applied to that Atlanta 2 defense.
He floated what looked like a tame ball in that ended up being the second goal in this one, as Amando Moreno was able to put in that deflection. On the flip side, John Gallagher, we mentioned 2 goals the first time these two teams matched up, and you could see why. Loves to cut in on that right foot, finding a lot of space.
Yeah, tonight you see him there on the left-hand side, and he was really, for me, Atlanta United 2's best player in that first half, and almost every chance or opportunity came from his foot or his runs. Very good 1v1.
John Gallagher, 5 goals, leading the team for New York Red Bulls 2. A big chance to get a victory here to start moving up the table. And then next week, Richmond Kickers, another team struggling in the Eastern Conference here at MSU Soccer Park. Another must-win game, as New York Red Bulls 2 has this 3-game homestand, and they're looking to start it off with a victory. An early goal by Chris Lema, his first professional soccer goal, and then Amando Moreno, his 7th of the season. We'll be back in a few moments with your USL Team of the Week and first half highlights here on ESPN+.
Lancaster! Cameron Lancaster! A dream of a goal!
Yeats inside the area, it's Hamilton! What a finish! Jordan Hamilton! What a strike!
Depersky getting in behind.
That ball from Mirkovic, and what an incredible goal from Perisky! Cornell Cato, oh my goodness, what a finish! Across the middle. Obanawi with the insurance goal. There it is! McInerney, good looking ball. Jack McInerney. Just digs it back in, flicked on. Krisnenko!
Brody inside the 18. Brody shot and a goal! Andrew Brody puts the Monarchs ahead in the 8th minute of play.
This one sent in. Great effort! Tampa Bay equalize in the 90th. It's Damo Duro in his rowdy debut. Obi steps in. Obi shooting! Saved by Lynn! He protected the 2 points!
Looking overlap here on the cross, volleyed in, and beautifully saved.
Stepping forward, header is saved! Vaughn Williams just barely knocking it away from Doyle.
Braden Allen! Garces kept it out.
Here comes Fresno. Cooper! Safe keeper. Cohen gets in behind. Francois off of Ramjitzing. Francois again. Ramjitzing slaps it away. Lofted over the back line and saved by Pickens as he dives aside.
Incredible week of action in USL play as Nazmi Al-Badawi, another goal of the week for him as he continues to rack them up. What a volley there, Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? When you hit the ball like that and you keep scoring goals like that, you're gonna win goal of the week every week. And he's been on fire, and so has that Cincinnati team. A tremendous goal from the top of the 18, and someone like Al-Badawi who he's got that extra touch of class.
FC Cincinnati leading in the Eastern Conference. And then on the flip side, Karl Wozniacki keeping Phoenix Rising in the top 2 of the Western Conference. 7 saves and a shutout against Orange County.
Yeah, and here you see some of those saves that he's made. Did well on that first one to get off his line quickly and cut down the angle.
Big performance from him as the Phoenix Rising continue to push Real Monarchs in the Western Conference. And it is going to be a fun race towards the end. You look at the team of the week here. One of your former teammates sticking in there, Hunter, and IOC.
Yeah, IOC had 2 assists on both their goals and gave Nashville their first loss at home. So good to see him still contributing and getting to the attack.
And you look up top, Cameron Lancaster, that 45-yard wonder goal against this New York Red Bulls 2 team, 2 goals in that 3-3 draw. And Efrain Alvarez, just a teenager and currently just dominating USL action. One of the best young players in the region. A lot of good young players on display here. And you look at New York Red Bulls 2 out shooting. Atlanta United 2 heavy, 16-5, 6-1 shots on goal. Atlanta United 2 a little bit more possession, and Hunter, that's actually hurt them at times as New York Red Bulls 2 have pressed them into mistakes.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, you want to possess the ball, but you also want to be moving forward with it, right? So you look at the difference. I say Red Bull 2 dominated that half for much of it, maybe 5-10 minutes. Atlanta United 2 had some chances. But that possession that you said, you saw it cost them almost twice. Once the guy the center back got picked off, Brian White doesn't finish his chance. The other one, a little miscommunication, takes a ricochet off Nicola, and they find the goal for the second one.
We'll see what happens here in the second half. As we mentioned, plenty of firepower on this ATL UTD 2 team. Looking to help this team break their duck here, try and at least get that first goal and start pushing for the equalizer. We'll be back in just a moment here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Well, 16 shots and 6 shots on goal, plus 2 goals for New York Red Bulls too. It was an eventful first half here at MSU Soccer Park. The two teams are back here for the second half. Let's take a look at those first half highlights though. For New York Red Bulls too, Hunter, they came out on fire.
That they did, and they were constantly applying pressure. And here you see the first goal, the clears from Nick Law off the post, and Lima finds the rebound at the top of the box. But this was what, maybe this third, fourth time that they had gotten in behind Atlanta United 2's left side of the defense. And again, Nick Law does everything he can. There's not really much else you can ask for him to do there, because he doesn't put it in the back of his net. And there you see Lima with the finish, and he almost scuffs it a little bit into the ground, but that little hop actually is what gets it over Christensen.
Lima, his first career professional soccer goal. New York not slowing down on the attack, a fortunate bounce here, but Hunter, was a matter of numbers. New York putting in a lot of dangerous balls, having a lot of shots, and finally getting a lucky bounce.
Yeah, and again, as I said in that first half, Moreno, he loves that run from outside in between the right back and the right center back, and that's the run he made that Cáceres was trying to find with that ball.
New York Red Bulls too will be back here same time next week against the Richmond Kickers. It'll be a perfect game. The sunset, the perfect atmosphere here, Hunter, plus only $1 hot dogs if you're out here at MSU Soccer Park, and Atlanta United too will face off against Bethlehem Steel FC, currently sitting right at the last spot of the playoffs. New York Red Bulls 2 and Bethlehem Steel will match up in 2 weeks for this little mini group here as these teams try and fight for the final few playoff spots in the Eastern Conference. And Hunter, now a big 45 minutes for a New York Red Bulls 2 team that led twice in Louisville just a week ago, but weren't able to hold that. And you got to think they're going to have that in the back of their mind this whole second half.
Yeah, it'll definitely be on the back of their minds, but I think it's two completely different teams. First of all, you were in Louisville, one of the top teams in the USL, at their place. Here, you're at home, you're in the friendly confines, and you're playing against Atlanta United 2 team that's at the bottom of the pack. So I think you just, again, it's easier said than done. Keep applying that pressure that they did in the first half. Keep finding those late runs from the midfield in behind the back four and those quick combinations in the center, and they'll be just fine.
So substitution here for ATL UTD2. Chris Goslin coming on to start this second half. We mentioned the young homegrown player, the second homegrown signing in Atlanta United history. It looks like he will come on in that holding midfield position in place of Jack Metcalf. The captain's armband will go back to AJ Cochran. So you mentioned that trouble area in that defensive midfield, and an agreement there from Scott Donnelly, and he looks to make a change right out of the halftime whistle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he saw the same thing that we did. And I think the reason maybe you don't see a change in formation, but just a straight swap in player for player, is because of those last 10, 15 minutes, they started to have a few chances, opportunities offensively. So I think he wants to give these guys another 10, 15 minutes, see if they can right the ship a little bit, and then make his decisions from there.
Chris Goslin, one of the bright stars of the USU 17 team that went to the quarterfinals of the 2017 U17 World Cup, started 4 of the 5 games in that holding midfield position, covering a lot of ground, but a true defensive midfielder. Coach Donnelly will hope that he can bring those qualities to the field right now, making his 12th appearance here in USL.
Well, he'll definitely have his hands full covering a lot of ground, because that's what I said in the first half that they were not doing very well, is covering all that ground in the midfield, where Red Bull 2 like to commit those numbers centrally, make those short, quick combinations, 1-2 touch. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to this Atlanta United 2 team and how that may differ from what they had in the first half.
New York Red Bulls 2 bring out the same lineup as they've had throughout the first half. Kendall Moulin wins that header. Now Tanari pushing it forward. He slides it in for Cáceres. The save by Christensen, the follow-up by White is off the crossbar. It fell to the perfect man in Brian White, your center forward with 6 goals this year, and he couldn't finish.
And once again, it's those 1-2 short passes, combinations in the midfield, the late run from deep from Cáceres. And then the ball finds Brian White's foot, and it's one of those where I think the goal was so big and so open, he thought, oh, I've just scored, and unfortunately, he hits it just over the top. Not as easy as it looks, but definitely one that even Brian White will tell you he's got to put away.
But right out of the whistle, Hunter, exactly what we saw in the first half. Space down that right side for New York to attack into the runs out of midfield from Tinari, and this time Cáceres causing the danger.
And I think that's the problem too for Atlanta United too, is that these runners from midfield between Cáceres, Tinari, they're not sure which one's going to make it. It's not the same person every time. So when they look up, they're looking for Cáceres, and now it's Tinari that's making the run behind. The next time, it's the opposite, and that's what throws teams off because it's unpredictable. The more predictable you become, it's easier to defend against you. But when players are popping up in different spots, different players are making the same run, that's where it becomes troublesome as a defender.
So it'll be Lema to take this corner. He drills it in. It's headed away and out for another corner kick for New York. Brian White, 6 goals this season. But he's gone over a month without a goal here. Getting the start up top. As New York Red Bulls do let Stefano Bonomo go. It looks like Hassan Endam and Sean Nicolo will have a little conversation with their head official. Bonomo, though, a huge part of the 2016 USL Championship team, was a leader on the team last year, but couldn't find the time this year at the MLS level, and he's moved on to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Tinari's corner kick. Second chance now here for New York, and it's finally cleared by ATL UTD2. Kisadu showing his wheels. The young Atlanta United Academy player floats it towards the far post. That ball won't make it to Gallagher. And Cutler slides it away.
Yeah, that was well done from Kisadu because he was the only one even close to that ball for Atlanta United too, and he did very well to cut inside.
Dangerous turnover here. Moreno now charging forward. Kendall Moulin trying to defend. Off to the feet of Tinari, and his shot knocked over the top of the crossbar.
And again, from Atlanta United too, it's a turnover, right? They're shooting themselves in the foot. And again, it's that guy Christensen keeping them in the game. Well done from Moreno. He goes at his guy, makes the right decision to lay it off to Tinari, who's open at the top of the box. And that time, Tinari hits a good shot. Unfortunately, it's just right at Christensen, who tips it over the bar.
Lema will take this. Corner kick, all 11 players back to defend for Atlanta. And it's flicked on by Scarlett, and it'll go out for a goal kick in for Christensen. The saves he's made in this game, that second goal, being a little bit soft, has to really kill because he has stood on his head at times to keep his team in this one.
Yeah, he definitely has, and like we said on that second one, there's nothing he could have done. Maybe it's a little bit better communication, but it looked like Nicolo was just trying to get out of the way, and he didn't, unfortunately, and the ball changed directions, and Christensen had no hope after that.
You could see the frustration there from Samuel, the miscommunication between him and Gallagher. And this tackle falls to the feet of Ben Mines. Mines with the right-footed shot, and he's not able to make that one dip. But you just don't see a flow in the attack right now for this ATL UTD2 squad. Those pieces trying to move, Gallagher and Samuel trying to come off the wing, similar to what we see on New York's side. They just haven't been able to link up.
Yeah, I mean, it's more individuals one-on-one for Atlanta United. They're trying to get isolated out wide and hope that they can beat their guy one-on-one. Whereas with Red Bull 2, you see that flow, those combinations in the midfield. 1-2 touches, the runners from deep. You know, they're coming at this Atlanta United 2 team 2 or 3 different ways.
Kisadu here forces the turnover to the feet of Samuel. Tavera able to tackle it away, and then Samuel comes back to clean up his own mistake, and it'll go out for a New York Red Bull 2 throw-in. White chests this one off for Tinari. Mines trying to lay it back off for Tinari. Intercepted by Cochran. Mines wins it back. Wide for Moreno. Moreno cuts it onto his right foot and curls his shot wide. But Hunter, you said since New York scored, and I've asked you, for New York, just keep doing what you're doing. And this second half here in just about 8-9 minutes has looked exactly like what we saw in the first half for New York. Dangerous in the attack, but very direct as well. As it looks like Ben Mines is down behind the play.
But yeah, as I said early in the game, if something's working for you, keep doing it, right? Until the other team figures out how to stop you. And unfortunately for Atlanta United 2, they haven't figured out how to stop those quick combinations in the midfield that has allowed Red Bull 2 to free up 1 or 2 runners, those runs from deep between Tinari and Cáceres. And then Ben Mines has been doing an excellent job 1v1 down that right-hand side. Moreno with his outside to inside run, splitting the outside back and center back. It's the same thing time and time again, but yet they just haven't figured it out. And credit to Red Bull, they're sticking with it. You know, I mean, again, why change anything if it's working for you?
And the last thing that any New York Red Bull 2, New York Red Bull fan wants to see is the young Ben Mines, just 18 years old, pulling up with an injury there.
Yeah, that looks like a hammy. Obviously nobody around him. Maybe something he felt when he was reaching for a ball earlier. And you could just tell he wasn't even, you know, on a dead sprint or anything. But once you feel that hammy go or tighten up a little bit, it doesn't take long for you to realize it.
And we should be seeing either Jose Aguinaga or Jared Stroud come in as a like-for-like sub here for New York Red Bulls 2, their first sub of the game. And it will be Jared Stroud. So he will slot in at that right wing position.
Not a bad sub to have come in. He's got 5 assists on the season. Similar to Mines, he likes to get the ball, run 1v1 at his defender. So a very like-for-like sub, as you said.
Stroud and Cutler are down that right wing, 2 former college teammates at Colgate. A lot of familiarity there as Moreno now comes forward. He's got Nick Law in front of him, help from Shannon defensively as well. All the way out here for Cutler, who drives it into the top left corner. And the shush of the crowd there is Ethan Cutler. We saw him hit one clean in the first half. Makes no mistake this time.
Yeah, I was screaming for him to shoot that one in the first half, and he hit it into row Z. But you could tell he has an excellent strike on the ball. And this one, there's no question, nothing Christensen can do. Moreno does the right thing. He looks it up, he gets his head up. He sees he got 2-3 defenders, lays it off to Ethan. And you could tell as soon as that ball's coming over to Cutler, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He was going to take a touch and hit it. And I mean, you could not place the ball any more perfect with your hands than what he just struck there.
Right in front of the Rampage there, down on the supporters' end. And Hunter, he hit that one like he was in training because Samuel closed him down. And he acted like there was no one around him, took his time, and drove that one into the top left corner.
And that's why I say he had already made up his mind what he was doing. As soon as Moreno laid that ball across the box to him, he had no doubts. He said, you know what, touch and a shot. And as you said, he was getting closed down, and that just lets you know he was confident in his decision, and a fantastic goal. That one feels good.
His first of the season, second of his career. And for that young player, starting to learn a new position, got his debut in Major League Soccer this season, and starting to lock down that spot for New York Red Bulls too, as well, giving them a commanding lead here at MSU Soccer Park. Kisadu up the wing now. Can Atlanta United strike quickly here and get some confidence back? Caceres just enough, and De Vera comes back to recover defensively.
I would have loved to see Gallagher get his head up there. He had Kisadu open in the middle who was making a run. He had attracted 2 players to himself, so if he could have laid that ball off in the middle and Kisadu could have run for another 20 yards.
Ball over the top. Brian White now one-on-one. He looked to square it rather than shoot himself for Stroud, and it's blocked away.
Fantastic ball, first of all, by Moreno. Unbelievable ball over the top. And there you see White, and maybe that's that lack of confidence from not having scored in the past month. Because any forward, they're all selfish, and I'll tell you that because I'm a defender and I've made that run and never got that ball. And there you saw White. I appreciate his unselfishness, but there when you haven't scored your one-on-one, look to hit the target and put it in the back of the net. No one's going to complain to you.
Corner goes all the way through to the far side. Scarlett back onto the foot of Lemma. Caceres goes by 1. Clips it in for White. Trying to knock it down for a teammate, and he can't direct it anywhere. Now Sandoval turning his team out of the defense and into the attack, but that ball will roll out for the throw-in. How well do you know the USL? Test your knowledge in USLsoccer.com weekly picks competition every Tuesday, and you could win tickets to an upcoming USL match of your choice. There is plenty of action to come this weekend as Scarlett goes down. Hunter, the least surprising thing about this game was that Devin Sandoval was going to go into that header strong as he has his whole career.
Yeah, I've been on the end of quite a few of those from Devin, and they don't feel very good. And I'm not near as big as Scarlett either, so. I mean, you got to. Look, there's frustration now setting into this Atlanta United 2 team, and in fairness to Devin, I don't think he meant to hit any of that. You know, he's a big target forward, and that's where he makes his money, in the box and in the air especially, and he's going up for that, and unfortunately he collides heads, and it looks like Scarlett took the brunt of it, and Devin seems to not have felt very much of that at all.
Sandoval has that steel head, of course. A big rookie season out of New Mexico for RSL. Ended up winning an NASL championship with the San Francisco Deltas, as well as scoring some playoff goals for Rayo OKC. Now in his first season in Atlanta. Kendall Mooland. A dangerous play there, but he's able to get his team out of pressure. Kisadu with a beautiful touch, drawing Scarlett into the foul.
And that's well done from Kisadu. I like that because it seems every other time that they found that outlet to Kisadu, it's been one touch, and now the second one he's looking to play over the top to Gallagher. Now this time he realizes, let's try to keep the ball. Let's try to let the game breathe a little bit. We need some possession. So he fakes that. And obviously Scarlett overcommits and creates the foul.
So Josef Samuel scored a goal the first time he played against New York Red Bull 2, but he won't be able to follow it up the second time as he comes off. And Lagos Kunga comes on here. Another one of the Atlanta United homegrown players. One of the players that they are very excited about. He's got 1 goal so far. This his 13th appearance in USL this season.
And I think that's a good switch for Atlanta United too. Samuel was quiet tonight. He just couldn't get it going. You saw They tried to even switch flanks, him and Gallagher, this second half to see if maybe something different. So I think that's a good change, add a bit of life into the attack, and hopefully Kunga can provide that.
Kunga 1 goal so far this year, made 2 appearances for the Charleston Battery last year, but has been a big player for the U.S. Youth National Teams, going to the U20 World Cup with them, and made an appearance in the U.S. Open Cup for Atlanta United. I believe it was against Miami.
You're right, it was.
Do you know anyone who's played there?
I might know somebody.
Gallagher floats this one in. Loro's not able to take it. It's alive in the box. And then the whistle goes. Gallagher's got his arms up as the Sandoval asking what went wrong. Loro coming out, doing just enough as the call goes against Sandoval.
But that's better service from their set piece from Atlanta United 2. And again, when it's not your night or you're facing a tough opposition, as Red Bull 2 has proven tonight, those set pieces are fantastic opportunities to find goals and to find your way back into this game.
Kendall Moulin with the long switch. Hernandez now going forward. It's been a tough night for him. Now Gosselin switches the field.
This is better, though, from Atlanta United 2. Building up, keeping a little bit of possession, switching the field once, twice, making that Red Bull 2 defense move side to side. That's the tiring part. When you just play direct over the top and it doesn't come off, it's easy to defend against. As the game grows and you're having to move side to side 2-3 times, that's when the holes open up, and that's when you can find that maybe that entry pass into the middle, find a guy isolated one-on-one. So that build-up from Atlanta United 2 was much better than what I've seen so far in the second half.
Unless you play for the Russian national team. Then you can run it, turns out, for 4 years and never really get tired. Flying forward here is Kunga, his first opportunity to make an impact.
You know, it's funny because I remember in 2002 they said the same thing about South Korea, who was hosting a tournament. Right. Wow, these guys can run forever. So apparently there's something to hosting the tournament and you know, having that extra gear, and it's definitely the crowd being behind you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Playing in front of 60,000 people and 15 to 150 million cheering you on. It'd be a good feeling.
I can think of a lot worse.
We might have an opportunity to see that in just about 8 years as the united bid between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., winning the rights to host the 2026 World Cup. And a lot of these young players could be major factors for their national team. I've already mentioned Lagos Kunga, Chris Gosselin, Andrew Carleton, who have all been major parts of the U.S. youth national teams, as has Justin Garces, the academy goalkeeper for Atlanta United. Look on the flip side for New York. Of course, Tyler Adams already making first team, full team debuts for the U.S. national team over the last few friendlies against Ireland, France, and Bolivia. But this, Hunter, is the difference, right, between what we used to have in the U.S. and now is fully fledged academies with professional structures and a pathway to being a professional player.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before the game, how it's enjoyable to see these guys, you know, the past 2-3 years, and now see some of those translate to MLS teams or overseas or wherever it is. And, I mean, wouldn't that be something that you could come here to Montclair State University and watch this game, and in 8 years from now, maybe you're going just down the road to MetLife
yeah.
and you're watching that same kid play.
Kisidou coming forward. Plays it in for the path of Kunga. Kunga with the shot saved by Loro. The biggest attacking moment of this second half is Kunga and Kisidou bring the attack to life for ATL UTD2.
Yeah, definitely their best chance so far of this match. And Sandoval, you see him at that back post begging for Kunga to play him the ball. I don't mind Kunga shooting from there. You got to be selfish in those situations. Maybe he could have slotted across, but I would have liked to have seen him use a little bit better technique than just the toe poke.
Turnover here in a dangerous area for Caceres. Now Moreno pushing down that left wing, trying to get to the end line. The collision there with Kendall Moulin. And our head official not impressed by that one.
I actually thought that was well done from Kendall Moulin, because Moreno's gotten that ball in those exact same spot time and time again, and oftentimes he cuts it back to his right. And that time he decided to go left, which I think was a good choice from Moreno to change it up a little bit. But Kendall Moulin does an excellent job anticipating that.
If you're Atlanta United 2, Hunter, you've got to push numbers. You've got to try and attack. But if you're New York, you got to be licking your lips, because you've already forced turnovers in dangerous areas. And now you know there's probably going to be a little bit more space. The game's probably going to get a little bit more stretched as this game wears on.
Oh, you said it perfectly there. I mean, as this game goes on, they're going to have to push to try to get a goal to get back in this game. And if not, that's even better for Red Bull too, because that means, you know, they're going to be in control. But obviously, Atlanta United 2 is going to push to get that second goal, and you saw they came very close there. Their best chance of the game through Kunga. That's what you want when you insert someone into the game as a substitute, especially an attacking player. You're looking for them to provide and inject some life into your team, and that's exactly what Kunga's done since he's come in.
Stroud now looking for a little space in the 18. He knocks it back for Cutler. Cutler already a goal in this one. Stroud's offside. That one will not count. Stroud was offside as that ball came off Cutler to hit the cross. Some good work between the two Colgate men. But off that little pass, Stroud was in an offside position. Christian launches this one along. Moreno able to force the turnover on Nick Law. He has Stroud making the run. He puts the pass behind him. Stroud now a little space on his right foot, and his shot hits a teammate. And Nick Law finally able to clear it. Excuse me, it'll be a free kick going against Atlanta United 2, and the first yellow card of the game to Sean Nick Law.
You know, we've been talking about that pressure that Red Bull 2 has been putting there, and I was just counting the number of players for Red Bull 2 that are inside the 18. There's 7 players for Red Bull 2 that are putting pressure, and here you see 3 of them, and you see Tanari wrestling with Nick Law, and Nick Law just gets that left hand out to the face of Tanari. I don't really think he knew much about it, but that's just a size difference for me. I'm not sure that's a yellow card. I could see the ref giving a foul, but a bit soft for a card there. But another excellent opportunity that Red Bull creates strictly from their pressure, and that's what we've seen tonight. That time and time again, that pressure, that relentlessness to hunt down the ball has led to some great opportunities for Red Bull 2.
Lemma takes it there. A little bit of misdirection as Tanari went to touch the ball. Cutler tries to float it over. Lemma's header down the middle. White lays it back for the center back, Endom, and his shot beats Christensen. Hassan Endom with plenty of time, and the big man turns on the ball and puts it in at the back of the net for his first goal of the season.
Yeah, as soon as that ball got laid off the chest to Endom, I was going to say, just not the right person to lay that ball off to. Maybe you don't, if it's anyone but your center back, maybe he hits a volley there. And he takes the extra touch. He's very patient. Here you see great layoff from White. And Endom just a little bit of a juggle, an extra touch to the side, and then puts his laces through it right into that right side corner, and nothing Christensen can do from there.
The big man from Cameroon with the captain's armband. And maybe Nick Law, after picking up that yellow, a little tentative there to step closer. Or maybe he just didn't think the center back could hit it like that, and Hassan Endom drilled that one just inside the post.
Yeah, but rule number 1 from defending, anytime the ball is at the top of the box and it looks like the guy's going to shoot, no matter who it is or if you think they can or they can't shoot, you got to put pressure. And because if you don't, that's exactly what will happen. If you lay off, you give that 2-3 yards of space, anybody can score from the top of the 18 as a professional.
Tom Barlow will check in for Brian White. He gets the assist there off Endom's goal. Hunter, he didn't get a goal himself. We saw him hit the crossbar, have a other couple openings, but on the whole, how do you rate his performance?
I like what Brian White brings to this team because he brings that work rate, and he's that first line of defense, that first line of pressure that you see here from Moreno again.
New York Red Bulls soon not taking their foot off the gas. This time, Stroud to the end line for Tenari, and he scores! 2 goals in 2 minutes for New York Red Bulls, too, as they put the final nail in the coffin and take a 5-0 lead.
And once again, it's that relentless pressure. Credit to Moreno. He's the one that puts Christensen under, causes a turnover, and then Tenari is there with a great finish, or the easy finish, shall I say. Doesn't get much easier than that. But here you see this was the turnover that led to this run from Stroud, and a great ball back across to Tenari, who's wide open, and an easy finish. But again, it all comes from that pressure. That initial pressure from Moreno leads to the turnover. And then Atlanta United stretched out. They're trying to build out of the back. They can't quite get numbers back, get guys covered, and Tenari finds himself wide open and finds the 5th goal of this game.
Atlanta United, too, had conceded 4 twice this season, but they had never conceded 5 in their history. As New York Red Bulls, too, continues to pour the pressure on. Substitution as Lucas Stauffer checks in for Ethan Cutler, who got one of those goals. And you got to say, outside of Moreno's, which was a little fortunate with the touch, they've all been pretty nice goals.
Oh, yeah, extremely good goals. I mean, there's and just let's think about all the saves that Christensen's made, too, right? I mean, you gotta give him credit. There's not many times that you're talking about the opposing team's goalkeeper with a 5-0 scoreline.
This one alive in the box. Moreno turns on the shot, and it hits off the head there of Kendall Moulin and knocked out. But for this New York Red Bull 2 team, 2 years ago they won the regular season and postseason championship. And when they got up on teams, they really started to roll downhill. Doing a little bit of that here today. Headed away by Cochran. Tavera down the wing here for Stroud. Stroud with the right-footed cross, and that one's knocked away. Hunter, we talked about how do you make sure that there's not a repeat of last week from Louisville where you give up the lead, and looks like New York Red Bulls 2 found a way. Just keep pouring it on in the second half.
Yeah, and we saw this earlier in the year when they were playing at Red Bull Arena with Red Bull 2, that when this team gets going and they get those combinations and those runs, and you know, tonight it's not as muggy as it usually is, so I think that plays a part in them being able to have that extra energy to keep applying this pressure, you know, 76 minutes into the game, whereas sometimes you might be a little sluggish at this time of the year. But man, when they're feeling it, especially at home, I mean, they easily can put 4 or 5 away real quick, and Atlanta United has seen that firsthand tonight.
So a nice little moment here for Atlanta United too, as Alessandro Castro checks in. Not his first appearance for Atlanta United 2, but his first appearance as a fully signed professional soccer player, as he was signed yesterday by ATL UTD 2. Appeared against Nashville last week for 24 minutes, the Honduran Youth International. And so he gets a chance for about 15 minutes here at the end of this one. In place of Lauren Kisidou, who you have to say was the brightest spot in the attack for Atlanta United 2, although not a lot of opportunities to show himself in this game.
Yeah, his opportunities and chances were limited for sure tonight. But really, it was either through him or through Gallagher where all their chances have come from so far. So I think he maybe was feeling it a little bit fatigue-wise. Obviously, it's 5-0. Sometimes as a coach, you make a change just to make a change to see if you can change something, influence something. But if it was me, I would have definitely kept him on the field.
Gallagher cutting into the box. He was active, as you said, in that first half, coming in off the left wing with a couple dangerous shots. Hasn't found the same success here in the second half. And now, Hunter, the big conversation for New York Red Bulls, too, is how do you get this to go over onto the next game? Richmond Kickers here at home next week, same time, same night. How does this New York Red Bulls 2 team get this performance to carry over?
Well, look, I mean, it's cliche, but in sports, nothing breeds confidence like a win. And let alone a 5-0 win where not only have you scored 5 goals so far, but you've played exceptionally well. You've dominated your opponent. So I think there's a lot of things that they'll be able to draw up on film and see with their own eyes that translated in this game that they can apply to that next game against Richmond.
Caceres there, having a piece taken off him by Shannon. And Oliver Shannon in that central midfield has just been, as we said, overrun throughout the game. They got a new partner in Gosselin for the second half, but we haven't really seen it affect this New York Red Bull 2 team at all. And then, of course, that press. Yeah. You know it's coming. Why is it so difficult to react to for many teams when you come into the game knowing they're going to press you?
Well, I think it's two things, right? When you fall down, your movement off the ball becomes less and less.
Stroud now cutting in, looking for a teammate. New York continue to turn the screws here.
But when you go down 2-3 goals, your movement within your team becomes far less. It's just there's no rhyme or reason, but that's what always happens when you're losing. Whether you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're frustrated, whatever it is. And so now when you're trying to play it out of the back, your options are limited. You might try to force something, even though you know the pressure's coming, and you're open. So as soon as that ball turns over, now it's easy pickings for the other team. And credit to Red Bull 2 tonight. Their pressure has been fantastic. And I think that pressure, along with that battle in the midfield, which hasn't been much of a battle because they've dominated it, has led to the success that they've had tonight.
New York Red Bull 2, it looks like we'll get their first win in over a month. Their second win here at MSU Soccer Park of the season, as they started the year out at Red Bull Arena, as they installed some new turf, as well as a new stand back behind the goal on the left of your screen. They continue to finish off this project of what will be the permanent home for New York Red Bulls 2 in a partnership with Montclair State University. Hunter, you had some flashbacks coming in here for this game as you used to train here when you played on the Red Bulls.
Yeah, it wasn't this nice, that's for sure.
Yeah, some slight upgrades to the facilities and field by the Red Bull organization to make it the right home for this New York Red Bulls 2 team. Castro cuts back, finds Kunga. Kunga curls it in for Sandoval, who puts it off of Scarlett and into the back of the net. Devin Sandoval's done a lot of thankless running over the last 81 minutes of this game, and he gets a little reward at the end.
But that's where Sandoval makes his money again, is in that box, fighting with center backs, using that big body of his. He does well to get in front of Scarlett. Here you see the ball gets played wide. Kunga has time. He needs to get closed down a little bit quicker there, so he doesn't have time to get his head up and find Sandoval. And Sandoval just gets a little touch in front of Scarlett. Unfortunately for Red Bull 2, goes off of him and into the goal. And they'll definitely be disappointed, Red Bull 2, for giving up that shutout tonight.
So the goal will go down as Devin Sandoval's goal. A little little something at the end of a tough game. It actually is Sandoval's first of the season. The 27-year-old out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Tavera clips this one forward. Strong tackle through the back of Barlow by Kendall Moulin, who's had a frustrating evening as well. SIU Edwardsville graduate, former stomping grounds of the head coach Scott Donnelly, who helped a number of players come through there to professional future, including Justin Bilyeu and Matt Polster. That one's knocked away. For New York Red Bulls too, it's been a pretty spaced out match. A goal in the 17th minute from Chris Lemma to take the lead. Moreno in the 30th, Cutler in the 56th, and then the 2 goals in 2 minutes between Hassan Endam and then Andrew Tinari. For Tinari, his 5th of the season. One of the attacking fulcrums for this New York Red Bull 2 team. If you want to watch highlights from every game of the 2018 USL season and bonus content from around the league, you can subscribe to the league's official YouTube channel at youtube.com/USL. Plenty of highlights to watch from this one. New York Red Bulls, too, have really unleashed now 8 goals in the last 2 games for New York Red Bull, 2. Starting to find their feet a little bit after getting shut out here at home by the Ottawa Fury. Another turnover for ATL UTD 2. Barlow chases this one into the corner. Wisconsin versus Wisconsin here. Barlow goes against Cochran and then turns it over. Castro pushes this one wide. Hunter, if you're part of this Atlanta coaching staff, how do you handle coming out of this game? What's your comments to the team? What's your focus throughout the week as you head into that Bethlehem matchup?
Well, I mean, obviously first you got to go back and look at the film because the film never lies. It won't be a fun session to sit through, that's for sure, especially for these players and the coaching staff.
Barlow charging into the box. Looks to square for Stroud. And it's defended away in the end by Hernandez.
But I think they really got to go back and they got to look at their setup there in the midfield and how they approach this game, because that's where, for me, Red Bull, they dominated, was in the middle of the field. And the 2 defensive center mids that Atlanta United 2 had just simply didn't have enough help, and they were outnumbered constantly throughout the game. So I don't know if it's maybe a change of formation or talking tactically to the players. That front 4, you know, the 2 wingers, if they need to drop back a bit more and pinch in. Because Red Bull 2, you know they want to play centrally more than they do wide. And tonight they were able to just do whatever they wanted centrally, 1-2 touch through this Atlanta United 2 team.
And it was a tough scenario for Atlanta United 2 in that when they figured out the issue, then they needed to commit numbers forward because they were trailing 2-0. So you don't really have the option to say, let's pull someone off that front line. Let's make it a 4-3-3. Let's give a little bit of help, because they needed to commit numbers into the attack, which ended up making it worse defensively in the end for this team.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, 5-1 or 1-0, it's a loss, right? So you got to go for the game. And when you find yourself behind, you're going to take more chances, more opportunities, and that's going to leave you more vulnerable in the back.
Scarlett's pass is blocked. It landed to Tinari. And then Hernandez makes the interception coming back to help defensively. Gosselin goes by 2 and then gets pulled back by Barlow. So we have an adjustment here. Atlanta United 2 lone goal of this game will officially go down as an own goal. So Devin Sandoval still looking for his first goal of the season. But own goal popping up here again and making a big appearance after helping Belgium make their way into the World Cup semifinals earlier today. There's no such thing as soccer overload, which is amazing. You could watch 5 games in a day and still feel good.
I missed the early rounds just because I could simply wake up, get a cup of coffee,
and then just
entertain the kids for a little bit, and then the first game's on, and then, you know.
You just binge on it.
Yeah, that's right. Once 5 o'clock rolls around, then I could go play back with the kids once it had cooled off outside.
Does each kid get a team that they have to support in the World Cup?
They're not quite that into it. My middle one is a big soccer fan. She's all about the U.S. She's all about Mallory Pugh is her favorite player because number 11 is her favorite.
Also
because
she's a great player.
She's complained over the past month that I'm always watching soccer on TV. And she said that she only likes to play it. She doesn't like to watch it.
Yeah. She doesn't realize that your body's tired and you're ready to sit down and watch other people play. The foul here against Kunga. Moreno goes in hard. These two teams have not really slowed down, even with the difference in the score. We've seen these two teams play it hard through these 88 minutes as far as the sunset. A perfect summer night. A big weekend of soccer as New York Red Bulls will face NYCFC on Sunday out at the big stadium as Kunga's now put through. Pushed wide by Scarlett, beats him to the end line. And his touch will go over that end line and out for a goal kick.
But Kunga shows you there, right? He shows you that little bit of flair, that little something extra that he brings to this team, something that they were missing for most of this match. And although it doesn't come off, his touch is just a bit long. I like to see that in a young player. Even when your team's down, you're still trying something. You're trying to find a way to get back into this match.
Kunga, part of 5 homegrown players already signed in just over a year for Atlanta United as a franchise. Of course, Tony Annan coming on board to build their academy before they made their debut in MLS as Caceres charges forward here, and we've got a penalty kick. We've seen Andrew Kendall Moulin get a little bit more aggressive as this game's gone along, as the frustration has built. And a penalty kick coming here for New York Red Bulls too. And Caceres does not want to give this one up. He earned the foul, and he wants the goal.
Yeah, and again, it's that late run, those 1-2 combinations, and it's Caceres this time. It's been Tanari, it's been Caceres. And there you see, he just gives the hip check there at the end, and I think it's the right call. I'm not sure that Caceres would have got there before Christensen, but just kind of a silly play, probably more frustration than anything from Kendall Moulin. Throws his hip out there, and the referee, credit to him, was in perfect position to make the call.
The young Venezuelan in his first year in the United States, looking for his 3rd goal of the season here from the spot. And he puts the right-footed shot right down the middle to make it 6-1, New York Red Bull 2.
No questions from Caceres there with that finish right down the middle. As we've seen a lot of times in this World Cup, down the middle, it seems to be the best place to shoot. I thought he was going to get his first goal from open play there. Again, it was a great run. It's a 1-2 combination. Leads to the penalty. And no question about what he was trying there. Just put full power right down the middle.
And you hear in the background the Bulls on parade. And New York Red Bulls, too, have been on parade in this one. A 6-1 lead. If you add the own goal, they've scored 7 goals in this game.
And 7 different scores.
7 different scores.
That doesn't happen too often in a high-scoring game, that's for sure.
And we said in the first few minutes, some great attack, but not selfish enough from New York Red Bulls too. And it ended up working out as everyone's gotten a bite at the apple in this one. New York Red Bulls too are going to get their most comprehensive victory of the season here against ATL UTD2. They overturned the 3-1 loss from the first week of the season in the other direction down in Gwinnett County, just outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy if you think about it, because there was Tanari's chance early in the game that I said he should have shot. Ben Mines could have shot one as well early in the game. And then I can think of at least 4 or 5 amazing saves that Christensen made in the match that could have easily turned into goals. And again, Red Bull 2 tonight, they've been on it from the kickoff, and they haven't let their foot off the gas.
And you really got to feel for Paul Christensen, as you said, putting in a heroic performance and still conceding 6. As Atlanta United 2 just hasn't gotten it right today. Struggling defensively, struggling to play out of the back, getting overrun at times in midfield, as Hunter has said. In New York Red Bulls 2, they haven't even been as efficient as they could be, and it's a 6-1 victory as New York Red Bulls 2 get their first win in over a month, their second here at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2 turn it around. Hunter, when you look at this one, what's your big thought coming away from this one?
I mean, this is just what the doctor ordered, right? If you're Red Bull 2, you needed a win, you needed to find goals, and they found goals aplenty. They had great combinations within the midfield, terrific runs from Moreno all night, in between that outside back and inside center back. The runs from Tanari and Cáceres getting in behind. Ben Mines 1v1. Ben White laying the ball off. So terrific performance from everyone.
New York Red Bulls 2 move to 6-5-7 on the season. Atlanta United 2 drops to 2-9-5 on the year. As New York Red Bulls 2 dominate from start to finish. 17th minute opener, and they score once again in stoppage time of the second half for a 6-1 win. We'll be back in just a moment with all your post-game action here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
These fans have had the perfect Friday night here at MSU Soccer Park as they see their team dominate in a 6-1 victory. David Gosselin, Hunter Freeman alongside you for this one on ESPN+. And let's take a look at the highlights, Hunter, as we've got plenty to look at.
And again, this is something Moreno did all night. From that left-hand side, cutting into the right, gets his head up. And again, as I said earlier, Cutler knew exactly what he was going to do as soon as he saw this ball coming to him. A touch and a heck of a finish. Upper 90, nothing Christensen could do about that one.
A rocket there from Cutler for his first goal of the season, reminiscent of his goal in the playoffs last year. So the right back does it, now it's the center back's turn.
That's right. When we saw Brian White lay that one off to Endom, I was thinking if anyone else on the field, they probably try to hit this first time or off the half volley. Credit to Endom, who is very patient. Also, Atlanta United need to put pressure on him. He's at the top of the box. I know he's a center back, but a fantastic finish into the corner.
And just 2 minutes later, the New York Red Bull 2 press creates a chance, and Andrew Tinari gets his first of the day.
And it all starts with Moreno applying that pressure on Christensen. We saw it time and time again tonight. Atlanta United shooting themselves in the foot. Stroud plays the ball across, and Tinari with an easy tap in.
His 5th of the season, Andrew Tinari leading the attack for New York. But Christian Cáceres, our star to watch, creative, attacking out of that holding midfield position and finished it off with a PK that he earned and finished.
Yeah, it was again one of those late runs from the midfield between him and Tinari all night long. A good combination. He drew the PK and he finishes it.
A whopping 28 shots for New York, 4 times Atlanta United 2, 12 shots on goal. New York Red Bulls 2 control possession in this one. Atlanta United 2 gets that own goal, which got them on the score sheet, but this game was all about New York Red Bull 2.
Yeah, I mean, what else can we say? 6 goals at home. Very impressed with their play and their pressure. Again, for me, the 2 keys tonight that led to their success were the play of the Red Bull 2 midfield and that pressure as soon as the ball turned over.
New York Red Bulls 2 get back to winning ways. Their 2nd victory here at MSU Soccer Park, and they'll be back in a week to face the Richmond Kickers. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. Friday night. We will, of course, be here on ESPN+. If you cannot make it out, thanks so much for watching tonight. For myself, David Goss, my partner, Hunter Freeman, our head producer, Rich Kaufman, and everyone else involved. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great weekend.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.